This is an important meeting, and our community feels so strongly about working and partnering with Arkansas Hospice to try to maintain and sustain our hospice home that you've operated for 11 years. So let me introduce, I think actually we pretty much know each other, but let's just be clear. I'm Jim Bob Humphrey. My primary title was CFD. About 17 years ago, Wanda will remember this, I was Michael O'Reilly and Judith, I called it then, and Dee Brazildale came here, and Michael's vision was to build this first freestanding hospice facility in the state. So over a period of about 4 years, we raised together, collaborated on raising about $3 million. And so Dee said, Jim Bob's going to go out and ask people for money. You mean beg? I said, beg. And she said, yeah, we need to give you a name tag. And what do you want? I said, we'll put Jim Bob Humphrey, CFD. And she said, what does that stand for? I said, Country Funeral Director. And she said, oh yeah, right. So she ordered it, thinking it meant certified, whatever. So that was fun to start with me and Dee Brazildale. I talked to her just the other day. We were in her prayers. So Judy Wooten for Chief Executive Officer of Arkansas Hospice. Manages an amazing organization that has had over 400, 500 employees, and it's one of the most respected organizations in hospice in the nation. And that's no small feat. And her CV, I learned the other day, I looked it up, CV, use a big word for that. And so it is several pages long, and it's amazing what you have accomplished in your career and what you continue to accomplish, and how the passion that you have for hospice families is so very real. And I have also witnessed that over the years, 11 years that we work together. Thank you for being. And then
Kathy's fine.
Kathy Jones is Chief Financial Officer of Arkansas Hospice, and her CV is even longer. So she's probably got doctorates in finance. And speaking of doctorates, Dr. Bell is here. He is the medical director for all of Arkansas Hospice, and we're very glad to have you with us. And he collaborates with Dr. Kevin Beavers as our medical director. So I guess you're over about...
And Dr. Thurlby.
And Dr. Thurlby.
Kirkland and...
Yeah. Thurlby, yeah. And probably 12 other offices, I guess, around the state or more.
Yeah, we probably have about 20 different doctors and 10 different nurse practitioners.
Right. Kim Herkman, a new member of the team with Arkansas Hospice Foundation. We've gotten to be good friends over the last couple of months, and we have some common threads academically back at Harding University in Searcy. So she's their foundation director, and I'm excited about working with her. So, okay, some local people. Fred Teague is the mayor of Russellville, very newly elected, has an amazing background of philanthropy, business, and he is a great cheerleader and team leader. I really appreciate it, Fred. Thank you. And some very deep spiritual waters there. Ben Cross is Polk County Judge, and Ben has tons of responsibility here. I used to think that the county judge just paved the roads, but I found out that in reality they run the infrastructure of the county and do a lot of stuff legislatively, and some big shoes there, and I really respect him. And Roy Reeves, my good friend, retired banker. Are you retired?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Banker, philanthropist, four-wheeler extraordinaire. We've been in the woods some together, so yeah, we really appreciate it. And Roy is a leader in this community. We're very, very respected. In fact, the other day, we've known each other for, my goodness, 30 years, and we were in this meeting, and Roy walked in, and everybody stood up. And I was like,
Yeah, they do that for old people, do.
yeah. What is going on here? I'm not going to stand up for him. But that's how respected you are in the community. I really appreciate that. And so, Mr. Brown,
Mike Brown,
he has had a little job with a few employees in the insurance business. They had a little insurance company that they got going, and made it into something pretty amazing called Blue Cross Blue Shield. And so, sir, as a member of your board, we thank you, and we're honored for you to be in our community.
thank you very much.
And love to hear some stories that
I've got
you've got some stories to tell.
I have
He's
one or
Scottish too, and I understand he has a kilt. Becky Beavers here. She is the driving horsepower behind Dr. Kevin Beavers. Talk And then she drives this machine, which is incredible, the River Valley Medical Center, which has a history that is phenomenal. It's one of the very best, amazing run free medical clinics in the South, for sure. I mean, it's awesome. She makes it happen. Dr. Marianne Rollins, my long time friend and mentor, fellow Rotarian and professor of Arkansas Tech, traveler extraordinary. So many other people. Thank you, Susan and Joe, for being here, and just all of our hospice support people. Thank you. So, please.
Rochelle Bray, who is the
Rochelle, of course.
manager of the River Valley Home and the Russell Homemade program here for Arkansas Hospice, and some of our wonderful staff have joined us today.
Amazing work that y'all do. Wonderful. So, Fred, would you just lead us in a word of prayer, and I just encourage everybody to bow your head and let's talk to the Lord for a few minutes.
Heavenly Father God, we thank you for this opportunity to just come together as a team and a community and a state to we're just to do your work. We're all here because of kingdom assignments. And Lord, I thank you for your favor that's been upon this home, for your favor that's been upon this community, and I pray that Lord, you give us wisdom most of all. Let us listen. Let us try to find a solution. Let us walk together to find a win-win solution. God, let us keep the focus, meeting the needs of those in this community and this state a priority, Lord, but also giving them a quality of life at the end of life and being there with their families as I know the importance of that myself. And I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
3 weeks ago, we met a group of people from Arkansas Hospice and community leaders here who were very concerned about helping this amazing organization or facility continue. And we started with just some sharing. And I would just like to let some of you hear that a little bit, some of that, about the work that the people in here and some 50-odd staff members through hospice home care and also our facility care do every day, and is truly amazing. You are the very core of why we're here. And so, Roy, can I pick on you? I know that's sharing it with us about what your experience was and the personal hospice home.
Yeah. My experience has been pretty limited. I've just always heard great things about hospice. I don't even really know what hospice means, okay? I don't even know what the word means. I'm a banker. But a couple of weeks ago today, the mother of my children passed away. So I get emotional. She had several illnesses. One of them was a brain tumor that became very, very painful. In fact, my daughters got on the bed with her and tried to hold her and comfort her, and even that wouldn't work. One of my daughters said, "Dad, she's pulling her hair out. She's trying to pull her ears off. Her head's hurting so bad." And so I said, "Get her to hospice. Get her to hospice." So my oldest daughter's kind of a bulldog. So she insisted with the nursing home that they get her to hospice. And they did. And they gave her the medication she needed. So now she only lasted about 24 hours plus after she got that, but those last 24 hours were comfortable. And my daughters remembered those hours instead of seeing her mother suffering like that. And so to me, that's worth everything, because that can be duplicated time and time again across the country. That was one person. And yeah, it's wonderful that we could help one person, but there are other people that need that same services. So many of them don't even know that those services are available. My daughters didn't know they were available. Didn't understand how the hospice can do things that others can't do. And so that's the beauty. That's the thing that makes this thing worthwhile. That's why we have to save it. Now, a lot of things have happened, but I believe, and if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be here today. But I believe it's worth saving, and two, I believe we can save it if we keep our minds open. If you think there's only one way to do it, then you probably got a problem. Because most things I found in life, there's more than one way to do it. And the way that I thought we ought to do it wasn't always the best way, my wife tells me. So anyway, so if we keep our minds open, I believe there's enough experience and knowledge in this room, we can find a way to do it. And then this way, and if we can find a way to do it, I think Arkansas Hospice comes out a great winner. And so those things we need to talk about. The last thing in the world you want is a black eye. Say, oh, well, that thing wasn't making any money, so we shut it down. That's the last thing in the world you want, and that's the last thing in the world we want. So let's work together and find a way to make it happen. Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Learn, Roy, from listening to you tell that story, and I just feel this is so important, is I listened to what you said about your daughters. They didn't know what to do. They were desperate, and they didn't have the answer. And they reached out to one person who knew what to do, and he said, call hospice. And it made all the difference. And every person in this room knows at least one person or more who the family didn't call that one person. And that person lay there and suffered immensely, and their family suffered. And so I learned, that is to say, we have to teach our community to reach out, to understand better what hospice does, to understand its mission and the way it works and the mechanics. And that's everyone from our people in our churches and our community, our doctors, our hospital administrators, our nursing home people. Everybody's got to be a little bit more on board. I have seen this so many times as a funeral director, that a person was admitted to hospice for 24 hours. And that, I'm talking about hospice home. And yes, it made all the difference in the world. 2,000 families or patients and their families that you have cared for over the last 11 years is amazing. That's a multitude of people. But I have seen so often that if that family could have had 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, it would have made even so much more difference. It would have made a difference in some additional family coming in. And I'm talking to people who know all about this, but I just need to say it. Before we die, there's just some things we need to say, like, will you forgive me? You forgive me? Thank you. And I forgive you, and goodbye. Cooper Ross taught us all these things. And to give people that few extra days to do that, what a gift. That's incredible. And that's what you facilitate. So if we can get our doctors, to understand that a little bit better and just give people that extra time, it makes so much difference. Fred, Mayor?
Oh, sure, yeah. About 5 years ago, my dad, he spent the last 2.5 years in a hospital and a nursing home, and then we went into the hospital, and he wasn't gonna make it. So we were blessed enough to go into the hospice house. We went in on a Monday, and honestly, his health just really, he spiked up and did well. And I mean, Dr. Kirkland was even asking us why he was there, because he looked so well. And then Tuesday evening, before we left that night, my dad asked us not to leave. He asked us not to leave, and I didn't know, looking back, and I didn't know what he was asking, but that was the last time I got to see him with his eyes open. So I got back Wednesday morning, and he was not really responsive. He was there, and so I committed to not leaving until he passed. And so Wednesday evening, I was laying down at the foot of the bed. They made me a pallet, and I was laying down, and I overheard the nurses say, "Oh my gosh, it's not going to be long." They saw something that I didn't know, and because I was at the hospice house, they knew what to tell, they knew what to look for. So 2:30 that morning, from that time I got up, I literally was able to read psalms to him, sing to him, and cheer him across the finish line. And I was lucky enough to lay on his chest and feel his last breath. So this means a lot to me. So I'll still remember the nurse being right there with me as he breathes his last breath, and I was able to get up and go get my mom at, 3 o'clock in the morning, bring her there. They had him prepared so that she could come back and say goodbye. But it's an important place. And I think the thing I love about it is it doesn't matter if you're a multimillionaire or if you're penniless, you get the same care. And that's the problem, that we don't tell people that. And that's where, no matter if we raise the money, we have to educate and bring awareness to people to let them understand that, hey, listen, this level of care is available for anyone. It's not, the hospice house is equal to all, and that's one thing I love about it. And so it's important to me that we do that as an individual person, but it's important to me as a mayor. If quality of life, quality of place, that is quality of life through the end of life care, and no one can know how amazing it is until you walk through it with them. So,
Thank you. Susan Sarles, she has been with us from the very beginning, fundraising, and then especially when we think of all of the activities that you have helped with us over the years, the Sleep Art Saturday, all the, so would you just share with your thoughts?
Well, if I can do it without crying, I probably won't. I cried the day I told it to Michael. So, in 2006, my first husband, and all the things you do. My son, I think it was my son and my son-in-law and Jim Bob. It could have been our nurse, Jennifer, because she was a friend too, but between the two of them, they told Jonathan and Scott about what they were trying to do. And we had Arkansas Hospice at our home, and he passed away there. But anyway, they came in and told me they'd been up there for some reason. They told me, and I was like, what? And they tried to explain to me. I said, wait a minute, I've just got to find more out about this later. We'll figure this out. So, of course, I did. And, we did little things. It doesn't take the big things. It the little things that was done. I wasn't in on the ground of all of it, but there was a few $1,000s raised, that went to it. After the building opened in 2011, in 2012, my father-in-law, Mike's dad, passed away there. And then in 2016, his mom passed away in the same room. I know when we took her in and I saw where they were taking her, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know if I can do this. But we were taken care of, they were taken care of. We never walked out, they never walked out the rooms, the nurses never walked out the room without saying, do you need anything? Can we do something for you? So it's it's the overall family they take care of. They take care of excellent care of the patient, but the family they take care of. And there's been countless friends, other family members and countless friends, that have spent their last days and hours there.
Thank you. Thanks. Many activities that were community-based activities over the last 11 years, especially for about 5 years after we built it. Dinners and fundraisers and just great opportunities to share and to get the community excited about Arkansas Hospice and what's being done, have been held, and Susan's been a big part of that. And Ms. Rhonda, I have been honored it's been a privilege for me to work with you at the time that you were manager of the local hospice, and what I saw was an energy and a passion that you had the entire time you were there. You were a true leader, and I admire you. And is there just anything you want to just say or share?
I started working at Arkansas Hospice PRN, and I really had no idea what it meant to be a hospice nurse, and thought, I don't think I'm going to like this. But once I started working with hospice patients, within a year I was full-time on-call nurse, and then within another year I was a manager. And from there, it's just grown. It just grew, and I cannot tell you how blessed it is to be a hospice nurse and work with patients and families. And of course, at first I worked in the home with the home-based patients, and it was just, I can't explain the feeling that you get when you help people like that, because they need so much just for you to listen, to be there, to hold their hand. And then when I was the program director and actually got to be in on the construction of the hospice home, that was my pride and joy, and it still is. And sitting in those meetings with David Keener and Tim and Jeff and you, and talking about the water coming off the mountain and building the retention ponds and all the architectural stuff, and developing a team to work there that was second to none. They are absolutely phenomenal. And then seeing the results and being able to be there when it opened and see the patients that have come through and the families that were touched. And if you bear with me, I just have to, you've probably read this before, I just shared this on Facebook not long ago with Ramona's approval. Ramona Woods is a good friend whose son, whose 36-year-old son died at the hospice home a few years ago after he had some long struggles, and she misses him still every day. But after that, she wrote this, and she is such a great writer, and I just have to read it word for word. Tucked quietly and unobtrusively away on a cul-de-sac in western Russellville is a true gem, the value of which is greater than the rarest ruby or bluest sapphire. It is a place that has an impact on each person who enters, and the very essence is felt almost at once. It is a place of comfort, peace, acceptance, and love. It is a place where everyone is equal and at the same time unique. It is a place where, when hope isn't an option, compassion abides. It is a place of quiet contemplation. It is a place where strangers quickly become friends and confidants. It is a place where tears and prayers flow simultaneously, and where physical pain is not an option. If you have never needed the services of Arkansas Hospice River Valley Home, you are truly blessed. If you have needed the services of Arkansas Hospice River Valley Home, you likewise have been blessed. If in the future you find yourself walking into this facility, your life will be forever changed. The nurses and staff, without a doubt, take extra time getting ready for work in order to attach their angel wings. The genuine care they give each patient is beyond amazing. What an extraordinary group of people. What an extraordinary place. It is a place where dignity is the byword, grace is abundant, and every life is celebrated. How fortunate are we to have such a wonderful facility in River Valley. Thank you to all who were instrumental in bringing the dream of the hospice home to fruition. That was by Ramona Wood. And that just says it all for me. We've done so many things, and I hope Tammy will share what she wrote today on Facebook. That was just wonderful. And there were so many other events that we have done there for people. Baptisms and marriages and anniversaries and birthday celebrations, and we let these people, families, celebrate life. And it's just, it just can't always be done anywhere else. So that just to me says it. And I think it truly does give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, and guides our feet into the way of peace. And that's from Luke 179, and that was Michael's verse for the Arkansas Hospice logo.
I'm not a public speaker, by any means. I'm a home base nurse. I was sent a few years ago to do an admission at St. Mary's, and it was a young girl in ICU, and her dying wish was to get married before she passed, and she was obviously too unstable to transport home. And Tracy Stokes was her manager at the time, and I called Tracy. I said, I don't know if we can do this. We've never done a wedding at the hospice house. And I called Trina, I called Pam, Marilyn Ford, she's not here, Tracy. And long story short, I got her moved over, got her to the hospice house, transferred over, and 24 hours later, we had a wedding at the hospice house. Flowers, cake, Trina got a photographer for us, but we had everything.
Yeah.
Reception, family, everything. And then she made it through the afternoon, then the next morning she gained her heavenly wings. So we made her, I'll never forget that story. I can't remember her name after all these years, but yeah, I just remember what we did and how my teammates helped me. And maybe the one and only wedding we ever had there.
They have another
Did they have another one? Oh, okay. Maybe ours is as well.
Employee of Arkansas House. And, sorry, it means the world to me. Because I do know how many people we've touched. And you talk about the 2,000, Jim Bob, and you attach 15 to 20 to that 2,000 because those families are touched. And I was talking to my daughter the other day, and I'm not to take anything away from home base, but we can't all be hands and we can't all be feet. And we have a place in this valley that the Lord put us here for a reason. And I want us to continue taking care of people and loving on people, because that's what we do. And that's one thing I tell them when they come to the house is, you're as close to home as you can be when you come here. And we do love on them, and we do take care of them, the family and everybody. So, thank you for all you're doing to help keep us afloat.
I wish, and this message especially to our staff, I wish that there was a big announcement that we could make today. Would love to do that and say we've moved far enough along that we can guarantee, or at least we're not at that point. We're still working. We're still working on a plan. We're working on, we're working on developing a plan. So we're going to keep working and keep praying. Okay, so thank you all for coming. We'll let y'all step out. We're going to do a little bit more drill down into some details, and just thank every one of you.